All right, guys, guess what? I finally got him. I'm holding him hostage. We're in his chambers, and now I've got him exactly where I want him, and I will not release him until this interview is done. All right, so let me introduce you to the Honorable Judge Brendan J. Sheehan of the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. I always get that. Oh, good. Okay.
Awesome.
So I found out a couple months ago that you are going to, or you've already started and implemented a program, and I think everyone needs to know what that program is. So thank you so much for joining me and making sure that the public knows what's happening with their tax dollars, but also that you are trying to do something productive in the courts.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for even thinking of asking to interview me and inform everyone about what's going on. Well, let me give you a little history. I've been a judge on this bench since 2008. And I have seen cases come in and out of this courthouse, and I've seen young men and young women go to prison and with guns and gun violence. And it concerns me, and I'm like, something's not right. We're not doing something right. The court's not right. The process isn't right. There's something going on out there that we don't know about. And so I approached the court leadership, Judge Russo and Prosecutor Mike O'Malley, and I said, we got to do something different. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but what we're seeing in the guns and gun violence in this community, we got to do something.
I think it's across the country. It's not just here. It's
Cleveland.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. And the court system, maybe we could do something in the courts to change the direction of some of these young men and women that come before us. And with open arms, both those gentlemen said, we'll give you a shot, Sheehan. We'll give you a chance to do a pilot program. And so you say, what is this pilot program? Well, we call it a violence intervention docket. And a violence intervention docket is a docket that consists of young men and women who are younger in age, who have been convicted of prior felony offenses, nonviolent prior felony offenses, who have been caught in the system with a case involving a gun. And the prosecutor, and because it's a pilot, so you understand, it's only 15 right now individuals that are on this docket because the court doesn't have all this money to open this up. But our goal is to get these young men and women in this docket. And it's kind of like a diversion program. And when I say a diversion program, it's a program where they accept it into the docket, they plead guilty, they're not found guilty, but they plead guilty. They get involved in this program with me as a judge, and they're supervised by me, and we have a special probation officer, and we also have folks from our community. We have the peacemakers who are there for mentorship. And we have jobs. America means jobs. We've got Job Corps who are willing to help these folks find jobs. And so the goal of this program, so you can think about it, is okay, they get caught with this case. Why are they in this case? Why are they in the court system? Well, we found out through my years on this bench that a lot of these young men and women, first of all, have never been told they're worth something, never given a chance. No one to give them guidance. And so the peacemakers is the mentorship to help them with the court and the probation officer saying, hey, Bill, Sue, Bob, whoever, you're worth something. You have meaning. You have something in this world to give. And you got caught, you made a mistake, you got some problems. Let's work through these things and let's figure out a way to get past these issues. And what we see before this program, we see these guys and young women and young guys who don't have that leadership, who don't have that someone except gangs and the gang life, and saying to them, come to my gang, be part of us. We'll give you leadership. We'll give you direction. And here they are out there and getting caught into the world of gangs and guns and violence rather than getting a job, getting a mentor, getting educated, getting a chance to get into schools, college, everything that we can give. And that's why we call it a violence intervention docket. Catch them before they get flipped into this world of gang life, and that's how they have to survive, to give them help. And I'm not, I don't know, I talk passionately about this because I care a lot about our future of this community. I care a lot about the future of what we got going on. And I think it's something that might be working. We've been doing this now since July of last year. Every one of those young men and women who are in this docket have not caught a new case, has stayed drug-free, have been involved in getting, they're all employed, their education, they're doing things. And I don't know if we got lucky with our first 15 cases, or is this something that might work? Is this something that's going?
I think it would work because you're correct. So many people in our community don't have that value, that worth, and studies have shown for a long time that the way you overcome those things is to educate people, to give them a job, to give them a purpose, and that's what jobs do. They give you a purpose. So
absolutely.
This is awesome.
Well, and some of the, here, I tell you stories. I got a story. A young man was riding his bike, had some drugs in his pocket and a gun in his back of his pants. The police are driving down. They see him. They stop him. And he said to me, as he got caught, and we put him in this program, he said to me, "Judge, the reason I have a gun is I am afraid for my life because of these gangs, and my sister and I drive my bike up and down to make sure I pick up my sister at school, so he or she doesn't get in trouble and get harassed by these kids." And I thought to myself, oh my gosh. So he's thinking he needs that gun for protection. And so, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but we certainly have given him a chance now to give him a different way of thinking. There's other ways to deal with this rather than getting a gun and using it for violence. And he's now working. He's got a job. And he said it kind of corrected his thinking about it. He said, Sheehan, I don't need a gun. I don't need a weapon there. I get it. I know how to handle myself. And his sister is safe. So those are just little stories that we've exposed ourselves to this short term. Now, here, I'll be honest with you. People are saying, well, if this is working, let's get it bigger. Let's open up the faucet. Let's get more cases. Right. Let's help, because let's make a big impact.
They're going to send them all over to you.
Right. and you know what? If it works and it's going, we've applied for some federal grants to see if the grants can help us so we can open up this.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens. But I get excited about it because right now, I have 15 young men and women that I've seen their lives since July change to something positive. Knock on wood, that it's going that way. But this could be bigger, and I think there's a need for the faith-based community to be involved, the churches. The mentors is a key component, and I think if we have that component, we have that chance to someone talk to them. They know there's a specialized probation officer. There's a specialized mentor. And our goal is the mentor doesn't go away when the case goes away.
Okay, that was my next question.
The mentor's there forever.
Okay.
And it's a relationship. And I give the peacemakers so much credit in this. They've gone in and they said, Sheehan, we're not sure if your idea is going to work or not, but we're willing to give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And they've been all in, and this couldn't be done. This is not a vision that, hey, I have everything can work. This is a group effort. We've got from the prosecutor to the defense lawyers to the mentors to the Job Corps people. This is a group effort. And think about it. This is something, if we do this as a model, well, then maybe it changes the way we do things in other cases and the way we handle the community issues. Because what we're doing now is not working. working.
Right.
This is something that we can change.
Do you foresee some of these people that are currently in your program maybe becoming mentors because they'll have testimonies? So is that the goal?
That is the goal. Graduate them, keep them in, and bring them back to be a mentor.
That's great.
So it's a feed-in program. It's got, look at, I'm not someone that's going to have a press conference on Public Square and say, here's what we're doing. Let's see if it works. And let's see if it can happen. And if that happens, then I could say, hey, look what we've done. Look what we're doing. Because you see all these, I hate to, you see these politicians, you see these people in the community saying, hey, we're buying back guns. We're doing this and we're doing that. I don't know if it's working.
It's not, and we do need something, a new approach, and that's why when I was told by a very beautiful lady who's now the Court of Appeals judge that you were
my biggest fan,
your biggest fan,
right. Who doesn't overrule me because she can't, but she would if she could.
So when she told me about your program, I got excited, and I was like, oh, I have to interview him. I want to be the first one to break this anyway, so this is my story, and we're going to continue to follow and see what's going on, and we'll come back periodically.
Look, I'd love, when we go in the courtroom, we have hearings some days and just status conferences. And they say, well, what does the judge do? Well, I'm there with them. I'm there at the status hearings. I'm there at their progress reports. And I don't want them to think, hey, I'm the judge, I'll see you later, only if you get in trouble. No, I'm there all the way through. I hear the good and the bad. I'll give you one more story. One of the status conferences I heard, a young man gave up his gun and got a job and is on the great path working. He ends up going to a place to visit his cousin who was sick. He's at the bus stop and he got robbed and shot without his firearm. And I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Here I am preaching this and see what happened. And he said to me, Sheehan, he goes, this program taught me that I don't need a gun. I didn't need to go have a weapon to defend myself on this. And it's just his thinking, his whole mindset changed on this. He goes, yeah, these guys were, these young guys are trying to rob me at the bus station. And he goes, if I would have had a weapon, I probably would have been charged with a crime. And he said, I have a different thought process now. Amazing. Here I am thinking, oh, this is a horrible story, and here it is, something totally changed. First person he called, not his family, he called his mentor, told him what happened. And that's the first person he called, and that's the kind of relationships we're building, and that's the kind of positive things we're changing.
That is so awesome.
So, here, look at, I knock on wood, and I say that in all honesty, did we get lucky with the first 15? I'm not sure. How do we pick these cases? They're predetermined, pre-indictment, before they get to the arraignment room. We look at the charges, and we look at their background, and we give them and their age, obviously, because we want these young.
And what ages are those?
Obviously from 18, 19 years old to 25.
Okay.
Right in that range group, we want, because we figure that's the impressionable age of these kids, and that's the gang, when they start going to a gang, and that's what we're trying to do, stop them from getting into that gang lifestyle, and just what can we do positive. So that's in a nutshell. But come to the court hearings, come watch the hearings in the middle of my courtroom. You're welcome, always. Yeah, of course, you're always welcome.
I'm going to walk in,
and you come in and you can videotape a couple. Maybe the kids don't want to be seen on their video.
Well, there's a way to do that without them being seen.
You just hear the stories,
yeah,
and you'll be like, maybe there is something to this.
Okay.
Or maybe you say, maybe Sheehan's off his rocker, but it's something to be done.
But I'm glad to see that you're taking the proactive approach to it. Now, you're going to have some gun advocates say to you, well, why don't you just teach them how to use guns properly? Why don't you teach them that they can still own a gun and it's an open carry and and get a carry concealed weapon? So there's that side of it that, people are going to kind of pick at you about that, you're taking the guns away. And
most of these folks who are in this program aren't eligible to have CCWs and guns. Most of these kids have been convicted of felonies already, and they're not eligible to have a gun. So that we're not going to deal with those folks.
Okay.
But there is programs that are out there that talk about, it's the coroner's office, and they do gun programs and gun advocacy stuff, and they talk about that.
Okay.
That's been going on for years.
Okay.
I don't know if it's working.
See, I try to get you so that you're able to give those answers before somebody starts nitpicking at it.
Absolutely.
And, you know what I'm saying?
No, I look for it. No, trust me. I hope some of your viewers, people who listen to this, they say, Sheehan, you're wrong, and this is why. And I encourage that, because I want to hear it, because I want to see, maybe someone says, hey, there's a better idea. Why don't you bring in this, or do this, or there's another group.
Believe me, my viewers will tell you.
But I mean, honestly, I appreciate it. And I'm, as you know me, I listen. And if I think if I listen and I hear, at least I can implement something and change things.
And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for judges, and that's why I'm interviewing judges, because I want people to know what judges are doing on these benches besides sending people to jail, because that's all people think you do.
Wow.
And we have to have a different imagery of what's happening in our courtrooms, and know that there are programs like this which are geared to help people move beyond the incarceration.
I think if you, I mean, and I'm not speaking for any other judge. We've got 34 judges in this community.
I'm going to get to every single one of them too.
And they all have. I mean, not one judge, I don't think, enjoys sending anyone to prison. I think though, there's a different way of thinking, and I think it's an important job. I love what I do, and I love the fact that at least I can implement some change in our community, make it something good, instead of all we hear is the revolving door. And some people say you send a young man to prison, you make him come out a better criminal.
I've heard that.
And you know, I've seen it. I've been involved in this community for my whole life. Prior to me being a judge, I was a prosecutor. I've seen cases that are good, bad, and ugly, and they break my heart. But you know what? The other day I was walking down the street and I ran into a young man. He goes, Sheehan, and he goes, do you remember me? And I had no idea. I wasn't sure. I go, you look familiar. He looked at me. He goes, I was so-and-so. You sent me to prison when you were my judge. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And I asked him, I go, was I right? He goes, when I was that young kid, I was a jerk. And you gave me every chance. And I just didn't want to listen. And he goes, I woke up. And I'm not saying that's a good result, but you know, that's one good story. There's a lot of young men who lives are ruined, and that just breaks my heart. And let's try to change it. That's the goal.
Well, I wanted people to meet you. I wanted them to know that we do have a good, compassionate, judge that's sitting on the bench. If I give you a compliment, it's real.
Well, I know from you. It is real.
It's real. So I did want people to know that there were positive things happening. We had a good, compassionate judge on the bench who really is looking out and trying to make lives better. And I'm glad to see the outreach, in the community, because that's really where it's going to start. It's really going to start with us in the community making a difference.
Well, please follow this. Don't let it.
I'm coming back.
Come back.
I'm coming back.
Let's keep a status on it. Keep me in check, and your viewers let me hear what they say. If they think I'm out of my mind and we're not making a difference, that's fine. I'd love to hear it. If they have ideas to make things even better, I'd love to hear it. So.
Well, I'm going to come back. I would like to maybe be in one of the hearings and see what's going on with these young people that are in your program.
You're always invited.
And if any of them, maybe you can talk to one of them and see if they're interested in doing an interview, so that they can give their side and their input about how this is affecting them and changing them. And that would be a great interview to do as well.
I'd love to interview
people know.
To my team. I call my team our team.
We'll set it
our
up.
Team, and you can meet the peacemakers.
Yeah.
You can meet the jobs folks, and these folks, they care, and who knows?
And that would be
maybe
great.
Some magic when we put all this together. There is some logic to this, and it's not just
Well, my goal
Here's
for
your case, boom.
my goal for Chasing Justice is to connect the courts and the community, and that people will have a place to go on YouTube and look at the videos, and they will be able to get the right information and trusted, reliable information. Mainstream media only gives you like 2 minutes into something. How do you get this across? You can't. And so doing these type of interviews are very informative. People are always saying, Mariah, when are you going to do this one? And it's like, I don't have enough arms to do everything everybody wants me to do. But I'm going to make sure that, if we could set it up and we get everybody at the table, we'll do a whole interview and everyone can talk and can bring some people to the table to tell us how this has affected them, and then that can help expand the program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's hope our federal government and grants committee believes in us. And,
well,
they give us enough money, so it's not just 15 cases,
right?
Because 15 cases is just a drop in a needle in a haystack. We need to open this up to give more people a chance.
Well, 15 is a good number.
It's a good number.
It's
right
a good
now.
number.
I'd love to open this up.